going on, everybody? It's your boy JP Joe Paul back in the motherfucking building. Hope everybody's having a great day, a wonderful evening, whatever time of day that you are watching this video. Hope that you are lit. It's been a long time, man. I have not talked to you guys in probably going on a year now. I believe checking the videos on my channel, I haven't released a video since June of 2022. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but you guys don't care about that. We're not here to get into the ins and outs of why Joe couldn't record videos for the year. We just want to talk about basketball, so that's what we're going to do. I'm good, though. If anybody's been wondering, I'm chilling. I've been having a great time. Just been busy, living life, being a father, taking care of my family. Everything's been great on my end. And I haven't stopped watching basketball. If you have been following me on Twitter at JoePaul8, pop that bitch right there. You can see that I've been talking basketball probably every single day of this entire year, regardless of not if I've been able to make a video on it. But let's go ahead. We'll get into it. Basketball 13. Blah, blah, blah. See, I don't even know how to do the intro. It's been so long. Basketball Weekly, number 13. Let's go ahead and we'll roll on into it right now. Alrighty, so we're going to be kicking off today by talking about the big blockbuster trade that happened just a couple hours ago last night. And that is Bradley Beal is going to be joining the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton in exchange for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, multiple second-round picks, multiple first-round picks. And to everybody's surprise, noticeably to Josh Hart's surprise, not a single first-round pick in the entire deal. And there's a lot of snowball effects that come with these big blockbuster trades, especially when you have big names involved. Of course, the big question first is going to be, what does this Bradley Beal move do for the Phoenix Suns? So the Phoenix Suns, if everybody knows, they made it to the second round of the NBA playoffs this year, where they've faced the eventual champs, the Denver Nuggets. And at multiple times throughout that series, you could tell that they were just strictly outmatched. They had probably the two of the three, they had two of the three best players in the entire series, in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Devin Booker was on a crazy historical tear, shooting 70, 80% from the field. KD had crazy efficiency. They had everything that you want except for depth. Everything after those two-headed monster was essentially nothing, just a pumpkin in a Cinderella story. It was nothing to write home about. You had Chris Paul, who ended up getting injured halfway through the series. DeAndre Ayton seemed like he didn't even want to be there through a good part of the series. It's just there was a lot more questions that came up than answers in that series, and that's why eventually when they went home in 6 games, you weren't really surprised because you saw hey, this team really only has 2 players that are actually playable come playoff time, and everybody else really is just a dud. So obviously Monty Williams gets fired as a result of their elimination, and here they are now making a big blockbuster trade for a star shooting guard on a max deal. Washington gave him that big contract last summer, and it really just begs the question of how much of a needle mover is this, honestly, for the Phoenix Suns. For a team that was in the second round last year, it really didn't seem like they had a real feasible chance to advance in the playoffs because of the limitations on their roster. For them to be swinging for the fences and bringing in another big name like a Bradley Beal, it's just I personally don't get it. I don't get it. And if for the front office to be watching that series and they see that the Suns are constantly getting outmatched just talent wise, they have the 2 big guns, but everything outside of that just isn't what it needs to be. I'm not sure why they swung for the fences and got another big name. This is actually very Laker-esque for me. I actually didn't expect this very much from the Phoenix Suns. Historically, the Phoenix Suns have done a pretty good job over the last couple of years of bringing in people that fit, bringing in that cohesive groove. They had Chris Paul, they had Mikal Bridges, they had D Book, they had Cam Johnson, they had DeAndre Ayton, and they all just kind of fit together. Now it seems like they're taking a page out of the Lakers book where they're just trying to be super. They're trying to just have as many big star names as they can and just kind of hoping that will be enough to win championships. And the NBA over the past couple of years has showed you that that's not what it takes to win a championship anymore. It doesn't just take you having big names and you're going to be able to win championships. The fit has to be there. And then bringing in a guy like Bradley Beal, and this is not me trying to say that Bradley Beal is not a good player. He's an amazing player, but he doesn't really bring what the Suns need. The Suns needed a defender. The Suns needed a facilitator, a point guard. They just traded their point guard after they waived him earlier in this offseason. They don't have the pieces that are. I think the Suns only have 4 people on their roster right now, and they're all the superstars. It's only the superstars. So going forward, it seems like they're going to be pretty strapped for resources when it comes to team building, and I can see them honestly being is it fair to say that they can be worse than they were last year? Not to say they were a bad team last year, but they were second round eliminated in 6 games last year. Do I think that with these 4 players, Beal, Durant, Booker, Ayton, do I think that with these 4 players, they'll be enough? That's enough to beat Denver? I don't. Do I think that's enough to beat the Lakers? If the Lakers were to come back as currently constructed, I don't. I think that it's going to take serious pieces around that fit around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So I honestly feel like the only feasible move that the Suns could make to make their roster better at this point is that they have to be planning on trading DeAndre Ayton. They have to. There's no way they plan on having these 4 guys be the pillars of their franchise, and then they're gonna have a bunch of Walmart workers, a bunch of guys like me just on the team, just like were like not really contributing. There's no way they honestly believe that way, because over the past couple of years, we've seen this strategy play out multiple times, and 9 times out of 10, unless you have a prime LeBron on your team, it doesn't work. You can't just mush together talent and be like, let's win a championship. Teams have tried it, but it's really only ever worked out for LeBron James. So I'm not really sure what the Phoenix Suns plan on getting here. I'm even more confused on, I'm not sure where the Washington Wizards are heading in this direction, because boy, oh boy. So last summer, the big conversation is, hey, you're going to sign Bradley Beal to this big contract because you don't want to lose him for nothing. You don't want to lose him for nothing. You don't want him to have all these years, have all this talent, and then him just leave your team to go to another team for absolutely nothing. And then you go and you trade the guy for Chris Paul, who's 38 years old, and Landry Shamet, who's probably not going to be on your team by the time the season rolls around. So I'm not really sure what the thought process was. You got a couple of second-round picks, no first-round picks. You got a couple of pick swaps, but you don't even get any first-round picks out the deal. So what, honestly, is the goal? The Washington Wizards fans, I'm sorry. I'm not sure where your franchise is headed. You know, during the mid-2010s, I was a fan of the Wizards. Not a hardcore fan, but I wanted John Wall. I wanted Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, Kelly Oubre, Marcin Gortat. I wanted that team to be something. They were honestly the biggest threat to LeBron, probably outside of the Raptors in the East back then. And just from the time that John Wall's gotten hurt and this team has slowly but surely just fallen apart, it's like they have talent, but not even the front office is really focused on making that talent be a cohesive actual basketball team. They just like, hey, we got some dudes who can play basketball. For sure. For sure we got some niggas who can hoop. And we gonna throw them out there. It's just, this trade as a whole was very confusing to me, very, very bizarre. It seemed like it was very rushed. I mean, the draft hasn't even happened yet. I feel like there were so many things that could have happened from now to training camp, or now until the end of summer league or something, that could have made a better move for both these teams, because now I feel like they just strapped themselves down for the next 5 years. I mean, listen, the Wizards, they got some financial mobility now once they I heard there were reports that they plan on moving Chris Paul to another team, so they'll have some financial flexibility. But in terms of being a competitive roster, like, what are you going to do? You're going to give Kyle Kuzma a max? Not to say the guy doesn't deserve it, but we're going to give Kyle Kuzma a max, and he's going to be our franchise player? Or it's going to be a Kristaps Porzingis and Kyle Kuzma duo for the next 10 years? It's not going to be that. So I'm not really sure where this team is headed. And them not getting a first-round pick out of the deal, it just makes it even more questioning. So if I was a Wizards fan, I'm not too excited about this deal. As I stated before, the Wizards are planning on moving Chris Paul from the team, so he'll actually never even suit up for them. It's actually ironic. I saw something on Twitter. Ironically, Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook have all played for the exact same teams over the last 5-6 years. That's the Lakers, the Wizards, quote unquote. Lakers, Wizards, Rockets, Clippers, Lakers. Right? Lakers. Oh no, sorry, OKC. OKC was the 5th one. That's just pretty interesting fact. Didn't know that was that. But it's kind of interesting how over the past couple of years, their careers have kind of relied on each other. Like, they literally got traded for each other in Houston and OKC. And then here they are now. There are reports that Chris Paul is going to be moved over to the Clippers, the team that Russell Westbrook last played for. And the reports are that the Clippers are going to try to bring him back on a big hometown discount for, like, I'm talking like $3 million a year. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to pull that one off, but God bless them. And this move, if they are able to obtain Chris Paul, it's like potentially, I only love it. I only love the Chris Paul move if they're able to keep Russell Westbrook. Because Russell Westbrook for the Clippers was amazing. He had his couple of boneheaded plays, but outside of that, especially in the playoff run, the guy was amazing. He had free reign. He was able to control the offense. It seemed like the rest of the guys on the court enjoyed playing with him. It was a good time. It wasn't any of the the tension, none of the hey, what the hell is Russ doing moments from when he was with the Lakers. It was just, hey, we're gonna have Russell Westbrook, we're gonna let him do what he does, let him ball. And I think that a full year of having Russ in that position with Paul George, we're not sure what's going on with Kawhi Leonard with the torn meniscus and everything, but I think that'll be enough to keep this team afloat until, knock on wood, Kawhi Leonard comes back and is healthy and is able to play. Now, I understand that saying Kawhi Leonard being healthy is a stretch and a half, but I still have to have hope that it's going to happen one day. I have hope that it's going to happen one day. The guy has been a champion twice, and in those 2 runs, he just so happened to not get hurt. So I know that it's possible, but I know as that number creeps up and as he gets older, there's less reason to be optimistic. We'll start there. But I really only like the Chris Paul move if they're able to hold on to Russ, because at that point, then you have Russ being your guy during the regular season, and then he could even be your starting point guard during the postseason. But on those moments when you need a floor general, hey, Russ, move over to the 2. We'll bring Chris Paul over at the 1. Or Russ, come sit down next to me. We'll bring Chris Paul on the court just for him to dictate the offense. That way, it keeps the ball out of Paul George's hands, gets the ball out of Kawhi's hands. Because that could be a reason why he gets hurt. Because when come playoff time, he does become high usage. Not saying that his usage will necessarily go down significantly with Chris Paul on the roster, but it'll give him ability to come off some screens, catch the ball. I think that Kawhi's going to have to come back and be just like a Rip Hamilton, Kobe Bryant-esque shooter. He's already kind of more going towards that role, but he's going to have to be like a full-on mid-range, just catch and shoot guy, because athletic activities in Kawhi Leonard's knees just don't seem to work. Like, over an extended period of time, the guy's just got debilitating knees. The man's got paper mache for kneecaps. I'm not sure how it happened. I'm not sure why it happened. He seemed like such a cool dude. He didn't deserve it, but hey, that's the way how God wanted it for him. And listen, it's just gonna have to be something where you're getting Kawhi easy looks. Because if Kawhi has to get in his bag and start working on his tween cross stuff, I feel like you're honestly just cutting the time that you are going to have him available in half, essentially. And I hate to say that because I love Kawhi. I want the Clippers to be a good team, but I don't think we're going to get that way with Kawhi being a high usage, high dribbling, ball in his hand superstar. We're going to have to find a way to get the ball out of his hands. Ja Morant was suspended 25 games by the NBA for reckless conduct from his IG gun video that came out a couple weeks ago. And 25 games. We'll start there. 25 games was the number that was given to him. I feel like, me personally, I don't think that it's enough. I don't think that it's going to be enough of a deterrent to have him not do it again. I think that for the second time, they've given him a slap on the wrist because he is the face of a franchise. And I think ultimately they are doing a disservice to Ja Morant. I think that them having this ability to like, hey, listen, we understand that, he's made mistakes. He's not perfect, but there's no real reprimand being put down on him. I thought they were going to suspend Ja Morant for at least half the season. I think that based off the first event that happened in the Colorado strip club, and then for him to have that conversation with Adam Silver, them to meet, they talk about it, and then 3 months later you do the exact same thing. I think that that's making a big fuck you to the league. And just for starters, I think that them not putting the foot down on this particular matter just shows that they don't really have the backbone that the NBA once had. Like David Stern's NBA wasn't playing for none of that shit. Like, David Stern was out here suspending players for having baggy clothes. You know what I'm saying? He really did a good job of keeping his thumb underneath the league, not to control the players, but to keep it so that the players always respected the league, always respected their job. And I think that right now we're in a very dangerous time period where we have a lot of young guys that are coming into the league, a lot of young energy. We've all been young. We've all been there. You do dumb things when you're young. You do immature things when you're young, especially when you're a young millionaire. So I think that they were given a real opportunity to really like hammer home to all the young guys, not even just to Ja Morant, that hey, listen, we're not trying to stop you from having fun. We're not trying to stop you from being who you are, but we are a business. We are a league. We have an image we have to upkeep, and it's just as simple as that. That's all you have to do. And them only giving Ja this 25 game slap on the wrist when Ja averages about 20 missed games a season anyway, just from injury. I just feel like that doesn't hammer home the message how you want. It doesn't hammer home the message how you want. And then even worse, the NBA PA come out, or the NBPA coming out, the Players Association, they come out and they're saying that we feel like that the punishment is too harsh. So at least it asks the question to me, what do they think is an appropriate punishment for Ja Morant? Do they think that Ja Morant should have no punishment? You think that he should be allowed to just tow his gun on Instagram Live for all his kid followers to see, and that should just be the end of it? Like, he's just not responsible for that? It's just like this big situation, this whole situation, it's just been more and more questionable activity on everybody's behalf. During the finals, Adam Silver was making it sound like they were going to be throwing the book at Ja Morant. Not saying that he deserved it, but he's like, hey, we don't want to interrupt what's going on with the finals. We don't want to, take away the attention from these two teams. Bro, you could have dropped a 25-game suspension and nobody would have cared. Nobody even cares. Like, I feel like he was he more worried about backlash? The fact that the finals coverage is on TV. It's on national TV. So they not want to get bashed on national TV for not suspending Ja for longer. That's what it starts to feel like to me. That's what it feels like to me. Because you got this young guy who basically told you to go fuck yourself. He told Adam Silver, the commissioner of the league, hey, bro, I hear what you're telling me. I don't give a fuck. I'm in this bitch. It's a parade inside my city. It's like, it's just it's disappointing. It's disappointing. I guess that's just the easiest way to put it. Adam Silver, I don't like the message that this is sending for the rest of the league. And I understand that they didn't want him suspended longer than Miles Bridges because Miles Bridges was involved in that terrible domestic violence. I understand they didn't want to suspend him for as long as Gilbert Arenas because Gilbert Arenas brought an actual gun to the facility. Not the exact same thing at all. I completely understand that. I just feel like in a vacuum, 25 games for this incident after the guy already said he wouldn't do it again, and then he did, and then he gives you that bullshit ass apology after he gets caught the second time. It seems like it was created by ChatGPT. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. I can't really trust that anymore. I have a friend, my boy Adrian. He is a Memphis Grizzlies fan to the death of me. He lives in New York, but he's a Grizzlies fan. Not sure how it happened. He's been a fan since like the Zebo, Mark Gasol, Mike Conley days. Not sure how it happened. I really don't get it. Adrian, if you see this, we don't know how you became a Grizzlies fan. We don't get it. But anyway, he was like very adamant that just like, hey, it's gonna be whatever. Like he was just like, hey, like, he didn't break a law. He didn't do anything. Like, we lit. Josh playing. We lit. And I'm just like, bro, I don't love that for the team. Because, in the short term, sure, do the Grizzlies have a better chance of winning a championship next season if Ja Morant's only missing 25 games? Sure. But at the end of the day, Ja Morant is still going to be like under immense scrutiny. He's going to be under the eyes of millions now in a city where he's already done stupid stuff on multiple occasions. I just don't love it. For him. I'm disappointed in the situation as a whole. Disappointed in Adam Silver, disappointed in the NBPA, disappointed in Ja Morant, disappointed in my boy Adrian, disappointed in the Grizzlies, just disappointed in this whole situation from top to bottom. And now all we can do now is just sit back and honestly watch. I don't want Ja Morant to be out the league. I don't want Ja Morant to lose out on millions of dollars. I don't want anything to happen to Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant is a spectacular player who deserves to be able to dominate this league for years to come. But I think he has to have his head on straight. And I think that we're in a situation where we're just enabling him to destroy himself. And it's a shame. It's a shame more than anything. And that's really all I can really say on the matter. I'm a bystander now. We're all bystanders. All we can do is sit down and watch and hope for the best. But that brings Basketball Weekly number 13 to an end. We'll be back next week to talk about whatever the hell's going on in the league. Be sure you leave a like, leave a comment, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Pieces? What the fuck? Oh my God, I hate doing intros. I'm so out of practice, bro. That was so disgusting. Oh my gosh. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Nigga said pieces.